Hi, this is Dice Kimura, and today I'm talking about bar chords. I'm going to teach you how to play. We're going to start with a B minor. I'm going to teach you how to play a B minor, how to use it, and all the do's and don'ts about B minor. But, you know, just a quick story about this before we get started. I had a student that had been playing for 20 years, and she had been playing for 2 decades, and she had never conquered bar chords. And she, you know, 20 years ago, she had learned her A minor, her G, her C, D, E. And every time she got to the bar chords, she would either try to skip that chord, or the song would be kind of funny. You know, she was a singer-songwriter. It would be kind of funny. Or she would just avoid the song completely, or she would try to figure out songs that she could do it with a capo. But it ended up being a lot of work, a lot of mental labor and work to just avoid this bar chord issue. That after 20 years, it just grew and grew. And finally she came to see me, and we started working on it right away. And it took her 6 months to get it. And that's a long time. Most people it takes a lot less than 6 months. Most people it takes a week or 2 or maybe 3. But in her case, it took her 6 months. But I said, you know what? It took you 6 months, and it was a long time. But if you had done this 20 years ago, for the last 19 and a half years, you could have been enjoying your bar chords. So if that's you, and I'm guessing it's not because you clicked on this video, but if you have any resistance to learn bar chords, just realize that if you're in this for life, if you're playing guitar for the rest of your life, at some point you're finally going to have to deal with it. I encourage you to start working on it today. And it's a process. You can work on a little bit at a time, and it eventually gets better. So let's dive right in. Bar chords. So first of all, turn off the air here. So first of all, let's just build a chord. So we're going to build a B minor chord, and you're going to put your first finger on the 2nd fret. Start it from the 5th string, and you're going to just lay it down like the name infers. It's a bar. You're going to lay it down across strings 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, and you keep it there. Okay, and then you put your 2nd finger on the 2nd string 3rd fret, your 3rd finger on the 4th string 4th fret, and your 4th finger, your pinky, put it on the 3rd string 4th fret. So now you're going to play strings 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, and if you're like me, it probably sounds like this when I first started. Okay, but that's your shape. Make sure your shape is right. Feel free to just Google like B minor chord on guitar, and you can find images of it, and just line your hand up with the images as well. But I'm going to give you some tips of this. Okay, first of all, bar chords are a lot harder than open chords. Open chords are like here. But I want to encourage you with this. If you learn one bar chord properly, it'll give you 24 more chords. 24. Okay? Here's B minor, and you have B flat minor, B minor, C minor, C sharp. You can move it. And then if you go up a string, you get another 12 chords. Okay? So there are some bands that they built their whole career off just playing bar chords. Okay? Thinking like Green Day, you know? Do you have the time to listen to So, bar chords. You're playing your B minor, 1st finger on the 2nd fret, 5th string, and you're barring it down, and build the rest of your chord. Now, here's a couple of tips, okay? First of all, you want to try to start that chord with your lead finger. And your lead finger is going to be your first note of the chord, which in this case is going to be the 1st finger, and it's on the 5th string, 2nd fret. Okay? So here's a teaching moment. Not all notes are created equal. Okay, inside of a chord paradigm, there is a pyramid of more important notes to less important notes. Okay, now the most important note of a B minor chord is the B. Okay, that first B note is called the root. So the root of B minor is B. Think of it like the subject. The subject of B minor is B. And the subject is B, and all these other notes, they complement the subject. This complements the subject, okay, or the root. That's one way to think of it. So the root is the most important note. Why do I say that? Well, a lot of people, when they go to play like the B minor or even the F or, you know, similar shape, they put the 1st finger down last, and they put everything else down first. And that's very understandable. mechanically speaking. But guitar fingering speaking, it's kind of a disaster, because what the audience needs to hear first is their root note. And so you want to try to get that down first. Okay? The second most important note is maybe the second note, which would be the third finger. Okay? As a matter of fact, you can play these two notes, and that's called a power chord. And I'll talk about more of that later in the lesson. But those are the two most important notes, the first finger and the third. Try to get those down first. If you get that down, or even the one note first of the root, and then build your chord, that's still gonna sound good. I'm gonna show you that later in the lesson. But anyway, so you got your B minor. The other thing you can do is rotate your finger or your hand, if you can see that, where I'm turning it this way. Or turn your elbow in if you want to, your torso, but it turns your hand a little bit so that the bone rides against the fret instead of the fleshy part of your finger. Turn your finger so that it's more like the outside bone. And that's going to give you, see that? See I'm turning it a little bit? That's going to give me even more clarity as I'm pushing bone against wood. Okay? All right, so the other thing, by the way, I just want to address, for those of you that are playing acoustic, and I brought my acoustic out for this class, just in anticipation that a lot of people looking at this video are probably playing acoustic. But I just want to tell you that electric guitar is actually easier on the hand than acoustic. Okay, think about it. Electricity makes all aspects of your life easier, whether it's grinding the coffee, or instead of the old-fashioned typewriter, using your laptop with a printer. Imagine how electricity makes your life easier. And the exact same thing is true with guitar. There's a lot of I've encountered a lot of just mental blocks in people that they think that acoustic guitar is easier than electric. It's actually the opposite, okay? Because it's a smaller neck and thinner strings, and the electricity is empowering you to make the sound. So in other words, if you're really struggling with your bar chords, try playing it on electric with clean. It's going to sound great. It's going to be so much easier. You're going to be able to practice longer, which means you're going to get better. And in time, you'll be able to make the transition back into acoustic. So I just want to put that out there in case you're really struggling. Consider grabbing an electric, okay? Okay, so a couple of more pointers here. You want your fingers to be perpendicular to the fretboard. So here's your fretboard. You want your fingers to be coming out, over, and down perpendicular, which means that you see how much space I have here between my thumb and the fretboard. You could even fit like 2 or 3 fingers in this space here. And that's really important. A lot of people try to do this like this, and their hand is like this. And there's very little blood circulation. My fingers are already turning white. And also, it's really hard to get a good form. It's hard to get good separation from the strings. Otherwise, you're going to be buzzy. And just real quick about sounding buzzy or not sounding good, that's okay. As long as your fingers are in the right place, it's fine. I tell my students, try to get over, the bad sound. You know what I mean? If you're playing with the right form, it may take you 3 months. It may take you 6 months, but you'll get there, and you're on the right track if you have the right form. If you have the wrong form, then 6 months later you're going to be like, man, this still doesn't sound good because I built on the wrong form. So you really want to be focused on the right form. But if the form is right, then it's a matter of time. You're going to figure it out. Okay, music is a language. So when you learn a new chord, like a B minor bar chord, we don't go over it and over it and over it until it sounds perfect. It can sound just passable, It can sound, even if you only have 2 strings ringing, it could sound kind of less, but in time that will fill in and become the full chord. It's just like a language. So if you learn like a new word, let's say we're speaking English and then we're learning Russian. If you learn one new Russian word and your pronunciation is pretty terrible, but you know how to spell it and you can use it properly, if I was your Russian teacher, which I'm not, I don't speak a lick of Russian, but if I was, then I wouldn't really sweat the pronunciation. I would keep teaching you new words, keep teaching you phrases, keep using it in conversation, and eventually that pronunciation of that one word will get better. So it's the same. We're learning B minor, we're incorporating it in songs, we're enjoying it, we're using it to play our favorite songs, and in time that B minor will come out cleaner. I have a specific exercise for you today. It's going to be B minor and G, and this is part of my playlist, which you can click below in the description. I have a playlist of a series of beginner lessons. So if you're landing on this particular lesson and you like what you see, you can click the playlist and take all those beginner lessons that are in series. Okay, but this lesson is going to be part of another lesson where I'm going to be using this B minor chord and teaching you in a song. But just as a prelude to that, we're going to do B minor and then G. So we're doing B minor 4 times, G, B minor, G. So as a way to practice that, you can play it with a drum beat. Let me pull up a drum beat for you. And the other thing that I wanted to mention, the reason I'm choosing the chords B minor and G is because B minor, it has your first finger right here, starting on the 5th string 2nd fret. And if you watch, you can just keep that finger right there, stand it up, and then build your G chord. And then keep that finger right there and lay it down as your B minor. So it's going to serve as an anchor for you in terms of your chords. So here's my drum beat, and I'm going to play with the B minor and G. I'm going to show you what the goal is here, and then I'm going to give you some attainable assignments. So we're going to start. By the way, I just used a drum beat of 60 BPMs. I'll include it in the description. I got it off YouTube. So here's your beat. We're going to do 1 time out of 4. You're going to play B minor, 1, switch, 2, wait for it, 3, 4, G. Switch, 2, 3, 4. B minor, switch, 2, 3, 4, G. 3, 4, and switch, 2, 3, 4, G. When you get better at this, you can do 2 times. 2 G, 2 B minors, and then 2 Gs. Switch, 3, 4, B minor, 3, 4, G. Do that for a while, and then you do 3. Switch, and. Switch, and. You can do that for a while, and then you can get to 4, and I'm going to slow it down to 40 BPMs. And I'm going to show you 4. But working with a drum beat or a metronome is really crucial. It does provide a sense of, it is a healthy pressure or urgency because it's creating the paradigm that you're going to be in when you play songs. When you play songs, you've got to be able to switch quickly between chords and keep track of your rhythm. So if you can, working in this time with just a drum beat is going to be a huge benefit to you for keeping that structure going when you go to play songs. So keep that in mind. Please don't ignore these drum beats. This is a very important part of your development, and if you ignore it, you're going to have a huge struggle when it comes time to get into the song. Okay, so I encourage you to do these drum beats as thoroughly as you can. Now, I'm going to try this with 40 BPMs. Of course, you can set it to any speed to calibrate your level, your desire. But here's 40, 2. I'm going to do it 4 times each. 3, 4. B minor. 1, 2, 3, 4. Switch. B minor. Switch. Okay, so you want to try to get up to at least 60 BPMs for 4 times each. Let me see if there's a few extra things I wanted to cover. First of all, placement of your thumb. Try to get your thumb behind your middle finger. Here's my middle finger, so my thumb is going to be pushing right behind it, right behind it. You can see my thumb here. Okay, I'm right behind the middle finger. Okay. And bring your wrist down. I think I mentioned that already, but I'll say it again. You want to bring that wrist down so you create that perpendicular angle. If you're struggling with this, please comment below. Tell me what's going on. I'll do my best to answer your stuff. If you need more help, you can get a Skype lesson with me. The information is below. You can also join me on Patreon and ask me questions there, and I do answer all those questions on Patreon, and I also will respond with videos when it's appropriate. So that's another layer of support you can get. But you want to incorporate this B minor and G, G, keep working on that, G. It's just, if you can get your form going, that's fine. A lot of students that I've taught this to were doing very well in the class, but in their own opinion of themselves, they thought it was horrible. So if that pertains to you, if you're doing the right form, but it's not sounding good, please be patient with yourself. Give yourself at least 3 weeks of trying it 10 minutes a day before you put a harsh judgment on yourself and decide that you're not cut out for guitar. Because it may not be that bad, or it may just take a little bit of time for you to learn where your finger placement goes. And by the way, I mean, I've been playing guitar for 34 years. This is a marathon. It's not a sprint. And so if you can learn that this is a marathon, you do a little bit of the right thing every day, and you'll eventually hit your goals. You'd be amazed at how much the human brain, the psyche, works to start understanding and filling in the gaps and helping you learn. You're going to learn exponentially faster than you're learning right now. If you continue daily, you're going to be exponentially faster absorbing material than you are now if you do a little bit every day. So a lot of people get discouraged at this stage of the development, especially around the bar chords, playing acoustic as a beginner, because of the challenge. But I want to encourage you, keep focused on your goal. If you do a little bit every day, you'll get through this, and you won't be like that student that spent 20 years avoiding bar chords, and then when she finally did it, she was like, man, I could have done this 20 years ago. I could have enjoyed all these songs that I could have played that I avoided because they had bar chords. So hopefully that's not going to become an issue for you. I'm hoping you just learn this B minor and move right through it. If you're playing a different chord like an F or an F sharp or a G, all of the same mechanics apply. You just apply it to whatever chord you're doing, okay? All right, so that's it for today. I do a video every day, so check me out tomorrow. I'm going to put something up for you as well. All right, take care. God bless.